In my last video, I was showing my little store that I made out of pallets that that I'm still building. I'm still building it with pallets, but what I'm going to show you, what I'm showing you today is what I'm doing with the scrap pieces of wood that I have left over where I've made all the cuts and part of the where I've took the pallets apart, pieces that I didn't need of them. I ain't just throwing them away. I'm making charcoal out of them. I like to, of course, it's a spring hollow forge. We make knives. And, I've got coal, but every once in a while I'll make my own charcoal. It works. I think charcoal works better whenever you're going to do forge weld, or especially if you're going to do some Damascus. The initial setting the weld, the charcoal gets a little hotter than what my coal does, so I'm making up some charcoal. These are the parts of the pallets that I didn't use. They're like little, although they're more like 2x3 pieces. It's the spaces in between. Like some of them are like right here. Some of them are made out of 2x4s, but usually the pallets that shingles come on are quite a bit thinner. They're not 2x4s. But it's these right here is what I'm using. And not just those, it's little scrap pieces laying around. Scrap pieces like where right here I was cutting stuff up. So I've been picking them up, throwing them in the barrel. And then the little pieces up from around the building, I've been picking them up, putting them in this little wagon. Or if I make cuts, I try to cut them where they just fall in the wagon. And then, which of course now I'm about halfway through with this run of it, but I'd throw them all in there, standing up, pack them in there, not real tight, but sort of tight, and then let it burn down and cap it off. I'll show you how to cap it off. And I really need to make a different cap if I'm going to keep using this. But it goes from that to charcoal. Something else I was doing with them pallets. I got some deer hides well, it's still deer season right now, but I've got the deer hides from a few people. And I'm using them to dry out my deer hides. Well, I think that's about down enough. Let's make sure all my little vent holes are covered. Looks like they are. Well, I'll let that sit there and smolder until it goes out, and should have me some charcoal in there. And if it didn't all turn to charcoal, I'll add it to the next one, and then keep going like that, and just get what's in it out. So I'll let that sit there until it cools off, till it goes out and smolder, and most of it should be turned to charcoal. Which now, whenever I first started, I'd got that whole wheelbarrow full out of it already, and I've only added just a little bit more wood to it, and what I'm finishing up now is what didn't turn to charcoal. But it's not like baking a cake or cooking a meatloaf or anything like that. You can't sit there and set a timer on it and know when to go get it, when it's going to be done. You're burning wood. All wood burns different. You just have to keep checking on it, looking at it, a little bit of practice, then you can figure out when or how you want to do it. It's really just who's doing it, of how fast or how much charcoal they make, which I could let it sit there and burn all of it, burn up and get what's left in it. But then I feel like myself, I feel like I'm losing half my charcoal. So I'll let it burn for a little while and see that everything's starting to char up inside the barrel. And it can't normally see the bottom, you know. And but a lot of times if you've got your vent hose on the bottom, once you see the fire down at your vent hose, you can watch. That as soon as you see the fire, don't start plugging them off because it may just be fire falling down. But once you see your fire and it don't go out down there around your vent hose, then you go ahead and start covering up your vent hose and then cap it off and let it sit there and smolder. Smolder till it puts itself out. Now the way I do it, you know, I've just got a piece of plywood I'm throwing over top of it. I'm surprised that I've did this 4 times now. I'm surprised that it hadn't burned a hole through the plywood yet. I've got lucky, which it's all right. I'm gonna keep going with it until I ain't so lucky with it no more. But I put the block of wood on it to hold it down, trying to get it a little bit more, you know, close up the air just a little bit more. Of course, when I cut that off, I didn't cut it straight for nothing. I should have tried better to keep it straight, but I didn't. And when I cut the ring off the top of it, I cut into the ring, so the top that I cut off wasn't good for, couldn't use it anymore because it'd fallen down in it. So that's why I got that piece of plywood up there. So that's it. I might do another video on making charcoal. This ain't the only way. The 50-gallon barrel ain't the only way to do it. You can go way back primitive. Build your whole big teepee of sticks out there, just line them up around in a, like it looked like a teepee. Just keep stacking them up, and then you can cover them over with mud, and then do it that way. And I might do a video on that at some point. It probably won't be in time soon, but might do one of them later on. It's a little bit more primitive if you ain't got nothing else to make charcoal in, but you've got mud. Everybody's got mud. Now, unless you live in concrete city somewhere, but even concrete cities got mud. So. We'll see you next time, and if you haven't did it yet, subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you next time.